Welcome into the 2026 mock draft by A Spiral and Brother. We're going to get right into it. We're going to be alternating draft picks, him doing the odds and I'll be doing the evens. This is our first mock draft of 2026. This is also the first YouTube video on this channel, so welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you're new here, if you like what you see. So let's get right into it. Raiders on the clock at number 1.
I will be taking, everyone's mocking it and their mother, it's Fernando Mendoza. I mean, he balled out in the championship. I mean, that one run against the entire Miami defense kind of solidified it in front of Tom Brady and the entire Raiders organization. And especially with Clint Kubiak coming to be their head coach.
And this is my first year actually diving into draft prospects, and people say Mendoza's not really a top tier A1 quarterback prospect, and I would say I would probably agree with that, but people who say he's not a pro quarterback just don't watch film. If you go back to his Cal highlights, he runs a pro offense, and there's a reason that Cignetti pulled him from Cal.
Yeah.
There's a reason that he went there and was on the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers for the national championship.
I would agree to a certain aspect that he isn't as good as others have been at the number 1 spot.
I would agree.
I mean, I heard that he was compared to Joe Burrow, and I would disagree on that front other than what they do good. Joe Burrow does what he does way better than Mendoza, but they have similar play styles. It's just Joe Burrow does it at an elite level. We've seen it. He's been in MVP talks for the past couple of years when he's healthy. And Mendoza throws the back shoulder ball like it's nothing, and he's great in an RPO system.
Here at number 2, the Jets are going to be going with Arvell Reese. He's such a versatile athlete. He has the potential to be a great edge rusher with his size and speed and athletic ability, but if he doesn't work out at the edge, you have a tier 1 off-ball linebacker. So having that versatility for a Jets team that is in need of talent is why I went with them.
Yeah, I would agree to that. He was being mocked number 1 overall when the Giants had it, when the Titans had it. Like, throughout the season, he was just an elite athlete. Everyone thought he was just going to be one of the generational type players. He sort of tailed off to the end, but I would agree with that. At number 3, Cardinals need a lot, but I think what they need the most is O-line help because, yeah, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with the quarterback situation, what LaFleur, the new head coach, is going to want. But I have him taking Francis Mauigoa because they need anything. Yeah, Paris Johnson has been good, but their guards and interior O-line has been terrible. I think Mauigoa can stay at right tackle, but I think he can also go to left tackle depending on whatever scheme LaFleur sees best for him.
At number 4, the Tennessee Titans are going to go Carnell Tate. Now, this may be a little bit of a hot take, but I believe Carnell Tate's probably the best wide receiver in the draft. You really can't go wrong with any of the 3 of them. Carnell Tate, I think, is the most overall size, speed, route running. He did play with Jeremiah Smith, who's a generational talent, and I don't use that lightly. You won't catch me on here saying every guy's generational. I don't like the over-exaggeration of things. With a new head coach and OC in Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh, having a young quarterback like Cam Ward, wide receiver is going to be a huge help.
Yeah, also with that, I think that Cam Ward was a better prospect coming out of college than Mendoza was. And that might be a hot take, but I think Cam Ward is a better overall quarterback than Mendoza can be in the NFL. And getting him that weapon is huge. So now the Giants are on the clock, and they need quite a bit on the offensive side. I think the hiring of John Harbaugh was good. I do think he's a little bit older for how young the team is overall, but I do have them going Spencer Fano. And the reason is he can stick at right tackle. Right? Jermaine Illuminor is probably going to be gone. I don't know how many people would really want to play for the Giants currently. I get it that John Harbaugh is coming and he's a great coach, very touted throughout his career, but I think they need to build from the trenches. Their D-line is great. Their corners are bad, but I don't think any corner could go top 5. I think Jermod McCoy and Mansour Delane are great, they're just not top 5 worthy. So I'm taking Spencer Fano at the Giants, pick 5.
Yep. At pick number 6 with the Browns, I believe that they are going to go with Vega Ioane.
Wow.
It may seem like a reach, but with the Browns' offensive line being as old and as poorly built as it is at this point in the career of Quinshon Judkins, I think that you really need to hyper fixate on him being a utilized point of their offense. There's going to be plenty of wide receivers down the board that are beneficial to take. The Browns have multiple first round picks and multiple picks in the top 70 over the next 2 years. It's going to be very important for them to draft for the future, especially without a tier 1 quarterback. And you might say Shadur could be that guy, and maybe he is. But as of right now, we haven't seen it. And so I think you draft for the future where they should be slated to get a higher pick again next year to potentially get that star quarterback in the future.
The Commanders at number 7. Ruben Bain shouldn't have fallen this far, but that's just how the board went. I mean, he's just an absolute monster. He's, in my mind, he's kind of almost like a DeMarcus Ware, but a little slower. He's physical. He's big. He's just, I mean, we can go to his. He's 6'3". It doesn't say his weight, but I'm pretty sure it's upwards of 290. He's a massive human. He can move interior. He can stay at the edge. We've seen him be productive against top-tier O tackles at edge, and he's just so physical. I think Commanders need anyone that can really help. David Bailey would be fine there, but I think Ruben Bain's just a little bit better. Not as good of a pass rusher, but he's way better in the run game. So I got Ruben Bain, number 7.
They say he has short arms, and we'll see at the combine, but I truly believe he might be one of those different guys where even though his physicals may not be the stereotypical, he can still play out there.
Yeah.
And he's got heavy hands. When he hits a dude with 1 or 2 arms, you can see it. Their head snaps back, and that's one of the most important things as a defensive lineman in general that really shows on the playing field. At number 8, the Saints, Jeremiah Love, potentially the best player in this draft. And with Alvin Kamara being on the latter side of 30, it looks like they're going to need something. And Shuck showed on the second half of this year that he is going to be their guy, at least for his rest of his rookie contract. He really seems like he knows what he's doing. And in that offense with Kellen Moore at the helm of head coach, it looks like they're going to be doing well, and having a great running back like Jeremiah Love is going to be very beneficial for them.
And I think with Kellen Moore, his run game scheme, I mean, we saw how good it was with Saquon. We saw how good it was with Eckler was, even though, yes, it was skewed because of fantasy reasons, but he was still a prosperous, like, he scored a lot of touchdowns. Like, that doesn't take away from the fact that Kellen Moore can make a running back better than what they're touted to be, right? His run schemes are very good. And Jeremiah Love, in my opinion, is the best or the second best player in the class behind Caleb Downs. I think is right there with him as 1 and 2. But, you know, you just don't see safeties going this high.
Especially box safeties.
Especially box safeties. Like we saw Kyle Hamilton probably should have gone top 10. He's first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro. Like we've seen how good he can be, but he went at 14. Like, they just don't go high, and it's kind of slept on that safeties can go that far. But now, Chiefs at 9, I thought about fixing the O-line to protect Mahomes, but their edges were so bad. Like, their edge, like, Chris Jones is kind of their only help. George Karlaftis is okay. Like, you see him show up sometimes, but throughout the entire season, he makes more mistakes than he does good. So I have David Bailey going to the Chiefs. I think Spags can make him that pass rusher that we've seen him be at Texas Tech. I think he's the best touted pass rusher in this draft overall. I think he needs a little bit of work on the run game, stopping the run game. He's just, let me see he's 6'3", 250. He's not a little bit underweight, but he's just slightly undersized for a NFL average at edge, but I think he can be a huge game wrecker, and the Chiefs just get another player that kind of fell into their lap.
Yeah, and having someone opposite of Karlaftis may help open him up as well in the pass rush. At number 10, the Bengals are going with Caleb Downs. I believe Caleb Downs is one or two of the best prospects in this class, mainly because of his game IQ. We've seen it since he's played. Going from Alabama to Ohio State, he knows where to be in the right positions at the right time. He's athletic. He knows where he's going. A box safety, but I think that in the right scheme, he could probably play anywhere. You say, oh, well, he can't be that one high. Who knows? Maybe he could. He's so smart, and football IQ is through the roof. He really probably could. And the Bengals just need help all the way around. I think with a guy like Caleb Downs, it could potentially turn around the passing game specifically for their defense.
And I've seen Peter Woods being mocked, or actually Caleb Banks after his insane Senior Bowl highlights. But Caleb Downs is one or two best players in this draft. Getting him at number 10 is a steal. And the Bengals had, for a while, statistically the worst defense in NFL history. They brought it back toward the end of the season. But at number 11, I have Jermod McCoy. Elite 2024 highlights. Probably could have gone top 5 if he wasn't injured. I mean, the Dolphins need it. They need any sort of help. I honestly couldn't tell you who their number 1 corner is right now. It's like, it's grim. They played better toward the end of the season, especially in the run game. But Jermod McCoy, he's elite.
He should be good to go for the Combine, and we'll see him either at the Combine or at his pro day. I'm assuming he'll be 100%, especially if he clears all the health testing at the Combine.
Yeah.
At number 12, it's a match made in heaven, Sonny Styles. This is pretty high for an off-ball linebacker, but with a guy like Sonny Styles who does not miss tackles, I believe in the games that I watched, I think I saw him miss 2 total tackles, one of which was in the national championship, and it was in open field against a running back, him coming downhill from 5 to 6 yards away. And he hit him and stopped him, and he ended up getting tackled anyway, less than a yard after getting hit. That's something that is really hard to teach to guys, especially once they get past the college level, is being able to tackle and being secure tacklers, and having such an athletic off-ball linebacker is something that Dallas needs, especially going all in on having Quinnen Williams, which I thought was a huge pickup for them, and I thought it turned around their run defense. I think having a body next to Overshown like Sonny Styles, having 2 extremely athletic linebackers is huge for the Dallas run defense, and will help in their back end as well.
At number 13, Mansour Delane. I've seen him play quite often, and every single receiver he's matched up against, he is just right on them. He doesn't give up huge separation. He's close to them consistently. His hands are great. His footwork is great. I love him as a prospect. He is just a little slow. Game speed is not that slow.
Game speed is different, so we'll see what the Combine looks like, but I would agree Mansour Delane is a good pick here for the Rams, who specifically need cornerback help. Number 14, the Ravens are going Cassius Howell. The Ravens need help on the edge. That is something that has hurt their defense over and over. We may never see Matabike. He did just post to his social media accounts good news. It could be about the Jesse Minter hire and the other hires that they've made. Specifically, I believe that was right after the Declan Doyle hire, but it could also be about his medicals. It was said that he had a neck injury that he may not play again. But the reason I went Cassius Howell here is he may be an undersized guy, but Jesse Minter ran a 3-4 defense, a typical 3-4 defense over with the Chargers. And having a smaller edge isn't necessarily a bad thing. He had some giant edges in Khalil Mack and Odafe Owe, but having a smaller edge that's just simply super athletic is really good in a 3-4 defense, especially if they're not going to be rushing the passer every single down. It allows them to play off the ball and into pass coverage, potentially match up with running backs out of the backfield a little more often, and I think it'll be a good fit.
Number 15, I have the Bucks going Keldrick Falk. You know, there's some he leaves on the table with his pass rush, but what I've seen with him at Auburn, especially against Alabama, he played great. I mean, against Caden Proctor, he played great. He put pressure on Ty Simpson consistently, and that's where we saw Ty Simpson his draft stock really start to fall off was the game before and against Auburn. That's when he started playing bad. I still think Ty Simpson can be a good quarterback, but Keldrick Falk just put the pressure on him. He's great in the run game, and he's a pretty big dude. He's 6'6", 285. That's a pretty big guy, and I think he could be great but I have him going at 15.
Here at number 16, the New York Jets are going to go with a wide receiver here. We're going to go Jordan Tyson. The injury history is a little skeptical. It's got some people questioning on whether or not he'll go high in this draft. But having such an explosive wide receiver like that is something you can't really miss out on. And with the Jets having so many picks over the first 2 rounds over the next 3 years, I think, they have space to miss and take swings. As crazy as that sounds, you saw it earlier with the Arvell Reese pick. It's something that you kind of have to try out.
And they miss often.
Yes, they do miss often. But with having a second-year head coach, it's looking like he might already be on the hot seat with how horrible this team is run. I think swings is kind of what he needs in year 2.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not fired. Every single other coordinator, assistant, and specialty coach is gone, and he's still there, which I'm surprised. But at 17, I have the Lions taking Caden Proctor. You know, on his run game, he could be a little bit more mobile, but I think that size you just can't teach. The Lions, they love to run weird things with Dan Skipper. He just retired. So Caden Proctor, I think he could play left tackle. I think that could be a great spot for him, or even slide into left guard. He just needs to work on his footwork a little bit more, and
he also needs to work on his play strength. It's a little weird seeing a guy as big as he is and as strong as he's said to be kind of just play with soft hands. I wouldn't say weak hands, but it's just kind of looks like he doesn't bring the power with his hands and as how big as he is. And I think that's something Campbell and the Lions offensive line could coach into him almost at the next level.
Yeah, the interior O-line play toward the end of the season for the Lions was bad, and you got to get that run game better because we know how good Jahmyr Gibbs can be, and maybe David Montgomery's on the way out. So, yeah, we have Caden Proctor going here at number 17.
At number 18 to the Vikings, it's Avion Terrell. With Brian Flores staying around as the DC and not getting a head coaching job, which does not surprise me with him having open litigations against the NFL. It makes sense. They've been struggling at DB for a few years now. When he has excellent DBs, he can play his crazy man schemes with the insane amount of blitzers and the stunting. He already has a great defense with questionable corners at best, and being able to get a top corner is going to make that defense potentially even better.
Panthers are on the clock. We saw them. I think that this year was a great year for Bryce Young. I think that this year was the year that he showed what he can do with a competent staff around him, with, you know, Rico Dowdle playing as well as he did. The tight ends played better than I thought they would, and
I actually thought Chuba Hubbard did pretty well when he was in too.
He was a little banged up in the beginning of the year and then got hurt, came back, and he played great toward the end of the season. Well, I guess we'll see where Rico goes. But I have the Panthers. Their biggest need, in my opinion, is linebacker. I have them going C.J. Allen. I think he's second to Sonny Styles as true off-ball linebackers. His size is solid. I think he could be a little bit taller, but it's not something that's going to drop his draft stock like Cassius Howells could. But CJ Allen, we saw him, how good he was in the playoffs with Georgia. And I just think that the Panthers need all the help they can get on the defense. I could also see like Mekhi Lemon going there. But I think Jalen Coker is similar to Mekhi Lemon with great hands, uses their size better than they should, or uses their size better than they could. But I think CJ Allen's just their best need available.
Here at number 20, Cowboys back on the clock. Has had a great senior showcase. It's TJ Parker. We already went with Sonny Styles, and why not keep going defense? They've shown that their offense can carry them in games and keep them close. Might as well flush out the defense. They already drafted Sonny Styles. Again, Overshown is great. They have Donovan Ezraku from last year, and I think adding another edge to that other side and TJ Parker will just make that defense honestly ferocious, especially in the front seven.
Yeah. At 21, Steelers. I have them taking Mekhi Lemon. He shouldn't have fallen this far, but we've seen wide receivers who are a little bit undersized just fall a little bit farther than they should. It seems like teams tend to take the higher upside with wide receivers more than the touted prospect with the hands, with the ability to get through contact. And Mekhi Lemon, everything I've seen from him, I absolutely love.
He's a great route runner, and he plays bigger than he is.
Yeah, his jump ball ability for his size is unmatched. He's honestly, in my opinion, better hands than DK, and uses his size better than DK does.
Which is insane for how big DK
DK's
is.
6'4", 250, and yoked. He's one of the biggest players in the NFL at his position, and yet Mekhi Lemon will probably use his body better than DK will.
At number 22, is it really a question what the Chargers need? No.
It was so bad.
Caleb Lomu is the draft pick here. Tackle is what he's at now. With both injuries to Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, I think Joe Alt will be healthy to start next year, but Rashawn Slater, patellar tendon tear is not something that has easily come back. But Lomu has the ability to play tackle. We saw it all year. He played pretty well, and sliding him into guard, he's basically a smaller Mekhi Becton in that size, and with his athletic ability, I think at a guard, he could thrive in an offense run by John Harbaugh.
And we've seen how bad their O-line was. You saw the PFF ranks in the playoffs. It was 30 out of 32, 32 out of 34. It was bad. I mean, Bozeman's got to retire. I think he's been bad for a while, but Sawyer has been terrible too. So yeah, Caleb Bloom was a great pick. I think it's kind of fell into their lap. At 23, Eagles. Their defense is still elite. I actually have them taking defense, even though how good it's been. I think Cooper DeJean needs to stay in the slot. Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo are bad. I think Keith Abney has the ability to play on the outside across from Quinyon Mitchell. And they just, honestly, other than that, they don't need anything on defense besides possibly a safety. And there's some pretty decent safeties in free agency with Ardarius Washington, Alohi Gilman, and possible others. But I think that's just the best fit.
At 24, Browns back on the clock for their second pick in the first round. It's Denzel Boston. Their wide receivers this year were not good, to say the least. Jerry Jeudy is not what he was supposed to be, and I was a big Jerry Jeudy believer when he came out of college. His route running was exceptional, but the hands just aren't there. He doesn't make the catches he's supposed to. And having a big go up and get the ball wide receiver like Denzel Boston, I think could be very big for the future quarterback. Again, whether that's Shador or whether that's a quarterback for next year's draft, having a established wide receiver in the offense will be very important to developing a future quarterback.
At 25, I don't know how he fell this far, but Peter Woods. I mean, we saw how bad the Bears' defense was toward the end of the season, especially in the playoffs. I mean, their D-line was not great.
And I think their D-line was their biggest problem. You know, when when they were fully healthy, having especially their secondary back, their defense looked like it played a lot better.
It
but
did, yep.
Their D line just couldn't hold up. They couldn't get any pressure with 4, which in Dennis Allen's defense is what you need.
Yeah, and Jaquan Brisker played great in the playoffs.
Kyler Gordon played great in the playoffs.
Jalen Johnson could have played a little bit better, being how much he's getting paid. But
Yep.
I think Peter Woods
Still coming back from injury, so
True.
we'll see how those secondary guys, and who knows with having both Byard and Brisker unsigned going into free agency, it looks like they'll need to at least re-sign one and potentially pick up another safety in the back end. But their D line is top priority.
And also with Peter Woods, he's a great pass rusher too. He's not only good in the run game. He's quick off the ball. He's got good hands. And honestly, how he fell to the Bears is kind of beyond me. But if this is how the mock draft is falling, it's just best player available at that point on defensives. It's just best player available on the defensive side of the ball for the Bears.
Here at 26, I have a pick here, but I think I'm going to switch it up. We were going to go with Banks here, being a big interior defensive lineman and helping out that run defense that was getting gashed pretty much the entire second half of the season and into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was rough, but seeing that Casey Concepcion is still here, it kind of makes sense. He is an explosive player. You get the ball in his hands. He can be that basically a young Stephon Diggs. Is that crazy
I actually
to
like
say?
that. No, I like
that's
that.
a very comparable
Almost
player.
like an OBJ. Like
Yeah,
great after
yep,
the catch.
great after the
good
catch.
hands.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly skinnier than you want, but he's so quick.
He's
like you saw
explosive.
how good he was.
And I think that with Keon Coleman being as scrutinized by that front office as he's been, who knows, maybe adding a wide receiver and having Coleman kind of play a second fiddle might be beneficial to him and his development.
That's making me switch. I'm going to go O-line. I'm going to go, where is he? I'm going to go Emmanuel Pregnon, the Niners. I think their interior O-line was a little bit worse for wear toward the end of the season. In the playoffs, it didn't look great, especially against how good Mike McDonald's defense played. I just think you need to protect your star guys, and they have to fix that electrical station. I mean, it's comical at this point. Like, now your top 5 players, besides Christian McCaffrey, are out the rest of the year and probably most of next year.
Siphoning the life force into McCaffrey for a great season.
I'll need to take you so far, but Emmanuel Pregnon here at number 27, I think is a great fit. The tackles, I mean, where is Trent Williams going to play? Is he going to still play? Is he going to retire? We don't know. Yeah, Emmanuel Pregnon's a big dude. He's 6'5". Like, that's pretty sizable for a guard, especially in the NFL, but we have him going here at number 27.
Here at number 28, it's going to be another O-lineman, Monroe Freeling from Georgia. I mean, he's a stereotypical tackle from the SEC. Monroe Freeling for a Texans O-line that could potentially be better. It played better because it was healthy this year, but having a true star tackle potentially come in and start for you where you have a little more freedom with a swing tackle if someone gets hurt, which they've shown they've been injured on the offensive line, could be beneficial.
29. Call me crazy, but I think it's Garrett Nussmeier. He got benched. He was hurt a lot. But what he showed before that, throwing for 4,000, he was the SEC leader when he was healthy in passing yards and passing touchdowns. Like, you get him behind that Rams O-line, sit him behind Stafford for 2 years before Stafford retires. Maybe he retires after this year. But I think Garrett Nussmeier, showing how good he was, being the Senior Bowl MVP on offense, I loved him. I didn't like how the LSU coaching staff sat him for Michael Van Buren, and I didn't think that was the best idea, but he was hurt. He was banged up. He didn't look great. But I think that Sean McVay is going to make Garrett Nussmeier better than he was in college.
And Nussmeier looked good in the Senior Bowl being healthy, so it makes sense. Here at pick number 30 for the Broncos, Kenyon Sadiq. Having a extremely explosive tight end in the Sean Payton offense, we've seen do wonders. Having the explosive player that Jimmy Graham was, obviously being much taller and bigger than Kenyon Sadiq, but the seam balls in that offense, having the joker position, which is what he calls it in his offense, having an athletic player like Kenyon Sadiq, who's basically a 6'3" running back with hands.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He's an extremely athletic, extremely well-built, well-balanced receiver in a tight end body.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to do well on the Broncos if he goes there.
At 31, the Patriots, I had them taking Emmanuel Pregnon. Now I'm going to change that to Akeem Mesidor. I think they need a lot of edge help. We saw how good he played in the playoffs. I mean, just constantly around the ball, constantly moving around, getting across the tackle's face. It was extremely fun to watch. I didn't think I was going to have him in the first round, but I had Emmanuel Pregnon there, but now I have Akeem Mesidor. I think it's a great fit. They need some edge help. Clavon Chaison's a free agent. We don't know what he's going to be. He played a lot better than I thought he would this year, but that's just kind of how Mike Vrabel is. He gets the best out of people.
Here at number 32, the last pick in the first round. Going a little out there with this one. Not super highly rated in this mock draft, but I think he's going to start climbing up the boards, especially when it comes to the combine. It's Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. He's a huge tackle. He's basically a tackle Gray Zabel, and we saw how Gray Zabel has done this year. And with Kubiak leaving, I think you just want to continue to increase the O-line help, and I believe that Jennings Dunker will be a good draft pick. I don't know if the Seattle's the right fit, but I think Jennings Dunker is going to be too well sought after to not go in the first round, which is why I have him going to Seattle.
With Clint Kubiak leaving, I think they're going to find another good OC to keep that offense rolling, and that O-line's looking really, really good for Sam Darnold, and we know how Sam Darnold can get when he's under pressure. You know, he starts seeing ghosts, and Jennings Dunker can have that ability to move inside.
That is the first YouTube video on this channel and the first mock draft for 2026, and that's just the opinion of a ball knower.